Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Well, when Sam Shepard saw the appetite for the Açaí berry in Australia, he knew that there was an opportunity to bring this product, along with other healthy foods, to the Irish market. Having just opened its 8 juice jar store and with a presence in Belfast, Bristol and Dublin, it proves that he made the right decision, and I'm delighted that Sam has joined us on the phone now to discuss the business further. Sam, we'll be discussing the expansion of the juice jar into Dublin, but first, your earlier career was quite diverse, spanning both the military and hedge funds.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here. Yeah, look, not the typical background for most people in hospitality, but I think, a career in the military, a life in the hedge fund has given me some strong leadership qualities that I've been able to bring through into the hospitality world and lead, 90 odd staff now underneath me, which has been great.
And when you reflect on both of those careers, how did they prepare you with the skills for running your own business?
From Afghanistan to a hospitality business is a significant jump, but I think the one thing you learn in military life and in the hedge fund world is that you can work certainly a lot harder than you think. You can do a lot more, and you can achieve really whatever you want. So it's given me that hunger and drive to really work hard and try to do well for the staff, for me, and for the brand. So I think I'm very thankful for that background, to be honest.
And it was during your time in Australia and your introduction to the Açaí berry that the idea for Juice Jar was born.
Açaí is everywhere now in Ireland, if you haven't noticed. You can probably get it at petrol stations here, there and everywhere. I think the one thing that's different about Juice Jar is that we make it on site every day and it's fresh. And that was something I saw in my many travels in Australia, that seemed to be the way to do it, the most popular way, also probably the closest and healthiest way that you can do it. And we've been able to stick to that for the last 6 years, and we're really seeing some growth and excitement about what we're trying to do. So, for me, the brand's all about health and wellness. That's how I live my life, and I've tried to, bring that to our customers.
And talk to us about the products which Juice Jar sells today.
So yeah, we've got a range of melted sandwiches, acai berry bowls, shakes, smoothies, protein shakes, coffee and matcha, and that's pretty much our entire menu. So we cater for quite a lot. And the reason for that is quite simple, really. When we started out doing acai bowls in Belfast, turns out a winter in Ireland's pretty cold and miserable, so you need something warm and hot on there. So sandwiches bring that, melted sandwiches do that for us, as well as the coffee. But it also means that there's a bit there for everyone. But as I said at the start, the key for us really is health and wellness. So, nothing added, no stabilizers, no sugars, none of that, just straight fruit, veg, and unprocessed food that we can give to the customer. And look, there really seems to be a want and a need for that. If you go down the high street anywhere in the UK or Ireland, it's just the same homogenous fatty foods wherever you go. And we're trying to buck that trend and, give people something different.
The healthy food space has been popular for many years now, and some people have claimed that the market is now oversaturated. How would you respond to that?
I would laugh, to be honest with you. Yeah, I've been hearing that since day one about coffee shops and about gyms and, whatever other thing there might be that there's lots of. At the end of the day, there's a reason why there's lots of them, because the demand is there. If it was oversaturated, yes, some may slip by the wayside, but if you can come along and do it 1% better than any of the competition that's out there, I'd say you've got just as good a chance, if not better, than most to do well. The demand is there. There's no doubt about it. Health and wellness is number one. Young guys and girls that I'm employing coming out of university, they're not doing what I was doing back in the day. Alcohol consumption seems to be down very low on the priority list. Drinking matcha, eating acai bowls is right up there. And so we're catering for that need.
And following the success of Juice Jar in Belfast and Bristol, you recently decided to bring the brand to the Republic of Ireland. Why was this an attractive market for you?
I mean, I'm just on my way back up from Dublin as we speak, and it's stark, the difference, to be honest with you. We went to Bristol, across the water into England, and we had a plan to go further, faster over there, but the numbers just down in Dublin seem to stack up so well, whether it be VAT and hospitality sitting at 9% in the Republic of Ireland as opposed to 20% in the UK. Corporation tax is half what it is in the UK. Even the price of lending money down here, the ECB base rate sitting at 2% compared to 4.5% for the Bank of England. Everything in terms of the straight economics for a hospitality business seems to stack up in the south of Ireland. And that's what I'm seeing. So even we've got a site right in the heart of Dublin, Dawson Street, one of the most beautiful streets in a beautiful city. And the rates down there are a tenth of what we pay up in Belfast. So it's a really attractive offering purely on the economics, as well as clearly the size of the city. And for me, maybe the lack of juice bars and healthy options that are there already.
I'm surprised to hear that the rates are a fraction of what you're paying up north. What are the other operational differences between operating in Dublin when compared to Northern Ireland and indeed England?
Yeah, the rates is one of the biggest ones. In fact, the rates is one that really irks me because even in England, there is a 75 rate reduction currently in place for hospitality and leisure tourism as a result of COVID. But that hasn't been the case in the north. We've paid 100% pretty much for the last 4 years. Whereas down in Dublin, yeah, it's literally about 10% of your rent as opposed to 50% up north. So it's a huge difference, market difference, in fact. And again, one of the reasons why we chose to come down here, and already we're looking for other sites in and around Dublin to really expand on that and make use of the sort of 3-4 weeks of huge queues and all the rest that we've had from the interest in the brand already. So we want to really capitalise on that.
And talk to us about your growth plans for outside Dublin over the coming years.
Yeah, look, I think let's see what happens is the first thing. There's a couple of different ways of looking at that. For me, early on, it seemed to be that we would target sort of Northern England cities, similar rent and rate mix and similar type of personality to Belfast. But Dublin, I think, has sort of opened the doors for really anything's possible at this point. So in my mind, it seems like maybe we do have the ability to go to London, for example, and really set us apart as a brand. Because if you can turn up in London and do well and have access to, 4 or 5 million people, you can really take this brand to the next level and sort of at the same time solidify what you already have and bring an interest in the brand and level up slightly across the 8 shops that we already have. So look, we have loads of plans, but ultimately, as I said at the start, plans don't always come to fruition. We've got to make this thing work. We've got to, show that the numbers stack up and that we have a profitable business at the end of the day. And it is tough out there, especially in hospitality. Margins are razor thin. It's harder than ever to make money in this game, but it can be done, obviously.
And what are your thoughts in terms of being a concession within another store?
Well, that's a very interesting one, to be honest. For me, obviously, our own sort of rented bricks and mortar city centre locations are always going to be the mainstay of what we do. But we're collaborating more and more with different brands, whether it be makeup brands, whether it be other health and wellness operators. And those collaborations seem to really work. And so, we've had offers now of pop-ups all up and down Ireland, to be honest, at festivals, at streets within the shops that already exist. These options are very, very lucrative and very interesting because clearly low overheads. You've got the ability to get in and get out, generate some real interest in what you're doing and then disappear off to the next one. So that seems to be the way it's going at the moment, and that collaborations definitely do work, and that excites me and brings something different again. And if you can collaborate with like-minded people that are trying to do best by people's health and wellness, then that's obviously going to add value to our brand. And
talk to us about your customer profile.
Yeah, look, we see a real mix. Like obviously, with 8 shops, we're in all sorts of different areas. If you pick Bristol, for example, we're 100 metres from the entrance of the University of Bristol, so it's a very student-orientated shop. Same goes for Belfast and Botanic Avenue. And Dublin Dawson Street, to be fair, is within walking distance of Trinity College. So, I'd say first and foremost, probably that sort of student age is our sort of key demographic that we're really after and where we really see a lot of, bang. But we also do have plenty of menu items there for the young professional office worker and whatever as well in the centre of Dublin and Belfast city centre. So I'd say for me at the moment it looks like Belfast city centre and Dublin city centre are our sort of main players in terms of the stores that really generate some high turnover and generate some big numbers for us. But the students are definitely there. Obviously, they tend to run out of money about 3 times a year, so that causes a few problems. But we try to make the best of what we've got there.
And what are your challenges with hiring staff across the different locations?
Yeah, look, I mean, there's been a lot of groaning within the hospitality industry about staffing and staff problems. We haven't really seen that. And I think, for early on, I mean, as I said at the start, I like to lead by example, lead from the front. I like to get stuck in, and I'm not scared to roll my sleeves up and get involved. And I think, we've been able to build the culture of the brand. We're sort of cool and fun and trying to make it really a place that people want to be. Because I think when I started building this business early on, I realized at the end of the day, your employees are your customer. If they know and understand and are fully transparent about the product that we're pushing out the door, they will start to eat it. And if they're eating it and they want to eat it, then obviously my view was, well, your customers will want to as well. And so we really made it a place that, people would want to work, and that, could be a bit more fun and a bit cool. And we open up our social media to all of our staff to, generate reels for TikTok, Instagram, or whatever it may be. So we haven't actually had to struggle too much in that department. I think it's easy to find the young students that want some part-time jobs. It becomes more difficult when you need full-timers to stay with you on the journey of building a brand. But now that we're growing quite rapidly, it's a much more appealing place to work for those types of people, because we can retain them for longer and they can give us more.
And finally, Sam, in terms of managing the logistics of operating 8 stores across 3 different jurisdictions, what challenges have you encountered and how did you resolve them?
Yes, it is difficult, but as I said, if you get the right people in the right seats, the good managers at each of those locations, particularly the ones that are far away. For example, we have one up in Portrush on the north coast of Ireland. We've got one over in Bristol, and we've got one now down in Dublin. So we're quite spread thin and spread far apart. But we do have to have strong logistics chains in place. And I think that's been the key difference for us in terms of our ability to scale, is that we have essentially built towards a single supplier solution. So we have one supplier now that essentially supplies about 95% of all of our needs, which makes our managers' lives significantly easier, because they can order whatever they want and whenever they want, essentially, online or over the phone, and it's there the next day. As opposed to having to worry about, 5, 6, 7 suppliers, whether they've turned up, they can only do certain days and all the rest. So that's been a key driver for us. And it's one that we're going to really need to look at in terms of going to England again.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Sam Shepard from Juice Jar, and I wish Sam and the team every success as it continues its expansion plans.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.